Hello, thanks for listening to the Finance Leadership Podcast. It's your fortnightly focus about the Finance Leadership Program. It's produced by AICPA and CIMA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. You can find out more at aicpa.org and also cimaglobal.com. As usual, you're listening to Kevin Gormley, the host of this podcast, and today I am joined by Kacper Cieslak from 3M in Poland. And we're going to talk about the experience that they have had with rolling out the CGMA Finance Leadership Program within that organization. So welcome, Kacper. Thank you very much for taking the time out to speak to us today. If you could just give our listeners a little bit of an introduction to yourself and what you do within the business, please.
Yes, of course. So hello, everyone. Hi, Kevin, and thank you for inviting me to this session. My name is Kacper Cieslak. I'm working currently in 3M, which is a global production company with many manufacturing and non-manufacturing sites around the world. My role is R2R team manager in the finance department on Global Service Center located in Poland, Wrocław city, where we are hiring approximately 1,600 employees. And the finance department is counting more or less 300 people. In a nutshell, my main responsibility is supervision of the finance processes, mainly related to sales revenue, gross margin, pricing, and operational expense areas, hiring new employees, building effective teams, and managing continuous organizational growth.
Thanks for your introduction, Kacper. One of the reasons we like real-life experiences of rolling out the Finance Leadership Program is to hear exactly how it's gone and what that experience has been from the users of the system and also within the business itself. Can you tell us a little bit about when the program was offered to 3M and what were the main drivers, I guess, that made the organization agree to offer it to its employees?
Yeah, sure. So in general, FLP, so Finance Leadership Platform, was offered initially to 3M Global Service Center Finance Department in May 2020, so more or less 3 years ago. And I need to say that 3M company is highly focused on employees' development, and for a long time we have offered financing of the courses related to, for example, ACCA, MBA, and other studies connected with the finance area. We wanted to extend such kind of possibilities for our employees, and we started discussion with the CIMA about the offers. After that, we've been informed about possibilities to study fully in online mode by FLP utilization, which sounded quite promising as a unique opportunity not offered by others so far. And in May 2020, we gathered a group of several people interested in starting studies and became chartered global management accountants in the future. Next, after going through all the arrangements between our organizations, employees became CIMA students and started learning the program. It's worth to mention that students were assigned to specific levels such as operational, management, or strategic, based on their work experience in the finance area. It gives possibilities for some to start CIMA studies even from a management or strategic level, which is a huge advantage and benefit offered when studying through FLP.
I suppose the timing of this as well, Kacper, is when we think back, this was just after COVID had started. So obviously having a fully digital platform that could be accessed quite easily remotely was a major advantage at the time. So it wasn't an intentional decision by us as an organisation. It was purely a coincidence, but I guess that did allow students to continue study or start new study during that period of separation for many organisations. One question that I have is around what type of students enrolled on the Finance Leadership Program initially.
At the very beginning, we wanted to explore the level of interest within our 3M employees in the CIMA studies through the online platform. As I mentioned, there was a group of several people interested, and during the first recruitment for FLP studies, there were 12 employees to start with the test version of the subscription that contained the possibility to study for half a year. The main purpose was to let employees acknowledge the functionalities offered by the platform. In general, I was a part of this group to explore it with other members of our finance department. And after half a year, all students faced a decision if they want to extend the subscription individually to prepare us for passing case study exams in the future. Fortunately, majority of the students were interested to extend the subscription, and by today, many of them already passed specific levels of case study exam and continue next levels in line.
And how's the experience been from an employer and from a student perspective?
Students are happy with the new way of learning. One of the common pros highlighted by many students was that the overall layout and functionality is really user-friendly. You can easily jump between different topics to remind yourself on any of the materials and information quickly. It's useful, especially when you are reviewing exams from the past years, and you can immediately, by few clicks, open an interested area without checking the entire book page after page, right? The learning hierarchy divided by competencies, skill sets, and concrete topics make it easy to navigate and learn at the same time. On top of that, the access to the materials is in any place without carrying books and paper materials with you is a really advantage, is a plus. Unlike books, the materials contained in the platform are presented in an appropriate way from the case study exam perspective. So they run students through multiple real-world scenarios in the same way as during the case study exam. From an employer's perspective, it's a very good direction to have more and more finance specialists with highly developed skills related to financial reporting, management accounting, digital finance, managing performance, and so on. So all these skills are really desired by employers and honestly, more and more visible in case of our CIMA students.
So I guess to summarize, the main points there is the flexibility and the way it's delivered digitally is a key factor for students when using FLP. And obviously, you're acquiring skills that are actually in demand by employers, which has a huge advantage for your career going forward. So those skills and experience, there are obviously perceived benefits for the business. Have you been able to apply what you've learned?
Yes, so in general, we are working in a very dynamic and changeable environment in the 21st century. The emergence of advanced business models caused that previously mentioned skills are really crucial to lead the business professionally and efficiently. So our FLP students can now better understand how the environment interacts with the company and the business as a whole. It can prepare them well for new challenges, which are an integral part of today's business reality, full of risks and uncertainties. The practical knowledge of international accounting standards and international financial reporting standards facilitates conversations with various stakeholders and customers or audit streams, for example. And it's worth to emphasize that from the understanding perspective, the FLP materials are well prepared and covers not only pure theory of finance aspects, but everyday life scenarios.
So the practical delivery of the learning really assists with preparing the student for the case study. Is there any areas of improvement, things like rolling out the program, timings, when to start, type of student, background, or anything that you have thought of during your experience with the program that you would maybe mention today?
In general, the majority of our CIMA students decided to continue with a one-year FLP subscription. It provided us with access to the platform and all materials. Additionally, it provided us with 2 free attempts to take the exam. It's worth to remember that exams from quarter 2 and quarter 3 within 1 year applies to the one pre-sin. On the other hand, exams from quarter 4 and quarter 1 of the following year applies to another pre-sin. That's why it's worth to target in writing the exam within one of these 2 periods. It gives you some kind of safeguard if you somehow fail the first attempt. as the second try will be within the same precinct. What was a nice benefit too was that when we started subscriptions, a kind of mentor has been assigned to us with whom we had regular touch points where we could ask all questions related to FLP platform, learning, exams, and everything connected with CIMA. For every single kind of case study exam, such as operational, management, and strategic level, we gathered weekly planners, which indicate an average minimum hours and average maximum hours to spend on specific skill set. So the planning activity was much more straightforward with it. You need to also remember that considerable amount of time needs to be spent on solving case study exams from previous years. I suggest going through at least a dozen sets of exams to feel comfortable during your first attempt. I'm talking about it because planning is really crucial in passing this exam. There is a lot of meaningful materials and you need to spend enough time to adapt to it accordingly. Honestly, I know one student who started to learn far too late, considering a 1-year subscription, and this person needed to learn every day and spend every free moment just to make up for everything. It was a huge challenge for sure.
Yeah, so an important point is planning is key and allowing yourself enough time to prepare. We would always advise students anywhere between 40 to 60 hours preparation for a case study is not out of the ordinary. Sometimes less, sometimes more, but that's an average. So have you any advice for other students that are currently on FLP or considering starting the journey?
For sure, it's important to highlight that CIMA case studies are unique and non-standard kind of exams. It's a really important thing to learn how the exams are structured, how the questions are worded, and how to answer the questions correctly. I recommend firstly to acknowledge the materials available on the FLP site. Simply go through all the materials with the high level of understanding. Then utilize all conveniences which are also available on the FLP. For example, the resource library, where you can find many supporting materials like guides on how to prepare better for an exam, and also webinars related to the most common topics appearing in the case studies. Another interesting feature are mock exams. It allows you to take a type of test exam at least once, approximately 4 weeks before the exact date of the exam. Few days after a test exam, you will get feedback from a professional CIMA examiner about what you did well and what could be improved with your answers. It's really powerful support before the final attempt. What's worth to mention the availability of webinars, core activities walkthrough. These webinars show the most important skills required when you take a case study exam with a detailed description of it. What's convenient is that all these features are in one place on one website with a user-friendly functionality. On the other hand, personally, I'm currently preparing myself for the management case study exam, and I use external resources like books and online articles, but it is just to be, let's say, over-prepared. So, however, previously I passed the operational case study exam by utilizing only the FLP, and with this base of materials, I passed it. This can indicate that the online platform is a really sufficient source which covers all required materials to pass the exam. So, just summarizing, plan well, take advantage of all the resources available, and pass the exam. So, good luck everyone, and hopefully to me too.
Indeed, and good luck. I'm sure with over preparation, it's something that you won't need. Kacper, appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to speak to me this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks again to Kacper, and of course, thank you for listening. There's plenty more to explore. For more information on FLP, go to enroll.cgma.org. If you know a friend or colleague who could use this information or would like to subscribe, feel free to share it with your networks. You'll see the sharing buttons on the podcast app. That's it for now. Till next time, goodbye.
This content is designed to provide illustrative information with respect to the subject matter covered and does not represent an official opinion or position of the AICPA, the Association, or CIMA. It is provided with the understanding that they are not engaged in offering legal, accounting, or other professional services. If such advice or expert assistance is required, the services of a competent professional person should be sought. The AICPA, the Association, and CIMA make no representations, warranties, or guarantees as to, and assume no responsibility for, the content or application of the material contained herein, and especially disclaim all liability for any damages arising out of the use of, reference to, or reliance on such material.